We're here today to talk about something pretty darn serious. It's a pretty serious matter today. I hope you guys will. I hope you guys will, be moved by it, and I hope you guys will try to send, those of you maybe who haven't, or try to send an email to Governor Parsons in Missouri, who I'm going to be talking about today, along with Walter Barton. Okay, so as everybody here can see, I'm wearing my Ziggy tie today. There's a reason why I'm wearing my Ziggy tie today, because I'm talking about Walter Barton. And folks, if you don't know, Walter Barton is on death row, and he's scheduled to be executed at 6 o'clock Central Time today. That's how close it is to the wire with this gentleman. And he needs help. He needs everybody's help. If you guys can help him, he needs it. He really needs it. So I'm going to be showing you guys some things here today to kind of show you some of the issues in the case and why there is reason to believe that the conviction is certainly not sure enough to be taking a man's life over it. And I think at least that much will be made clear. At least absolutely clear today. Now, there are some issues with Mr. Barton's case. You'll see I'm going to read some articles today. But right now, I want to say to Governor Parsons in Missouri, I'm wearing my Ziggy tie today because Ziggy is a friend of ours. She was a part of our community. She was well loved. We all miss her. You get where I'm going with this, right? Governor Parsons, we all miss her. She's gone. She was taken from us. She was taken from us before she should have been. And guess what, Governor Parsons? We can't get her back. The life was taken, and there's nothing we can do about it. And what I want to suggest to you is that Walter Barton is the same thing. If you take Mr. Barton's life, you can't give it back. And if you look at this case and you can honestly see the questions that a lot of us are seeing, then maybe you should err on the side of caution, or at least delay it until you can look into it more. I think that would be prudent. That is my advice to you, Mr. Parson, because like I said, if you take his life and find out that it shouldn't have been taken, you can't give it back. You can't. It's just the fact of the way things are. So I would say, before you go taking something you can't give back, maybe see what all the hubbub's about, what everybody's trying to tell you, what everybody's trying to show you and suggest to you right now. Take a look. Be cautious. Don't be so gung-ho to take a life that you can't give back. And that's my message to you, Governor Parsons. That's Governor Mike Parsons over in Missouri, folks. I am going to encourage you guys today to send an email to the governor's office asking them to exercise caution and to stay the execution of Walter Barton. All right, what do we got going on over here in the chat? Let's see. Will there be links where I can write the email? Yes, there will. In fact, as I show you it here. Well, hold on. Let me go through the comments first. Go to his live. Yes, there's the live at 3 p.m. where the governor will be live on, I guess, Facebook at 3 p.m. So that will be interesting. That will most likely be 3 p.m. Central Time. So that'll probably be 1 o'clock for me. But I definitely want to go check that out. So like I say, folks, Walter Barton is up against it, folks. Today at 6 o'clock Central. That's how close this is coming down to the wire. Okay? But the fact of the matter is, I'm going to show you some things today. There is enough there to question the conviction. There is enough there to question the conviction itself And if you can question the conviction, then the death penalty should be off the table. Death penalty should absolutely be off the table if you have questions about the conviction. And that's just the way I feel about that. So, yeah, I will. Okay, so Jane got it for you. I'll be posting them. I'll be posting links to what I'm going to be showing. But okay, so what Jane has just posted, I believe, is this one here. Yeah, contact us. So I'll show you guys which one that is right now. That's this one here. There, sure. Okay, so this is the link that Jane just put up right there, folks. Yeah, make this bigger. Can I make it bigger? Come on. You guys can see it a little better. Okay, so when you go to that link, it brings up. Okay, it brings up this thing. So what you do is you enter in your name, your address, city, state, zip code, and an email address. And those are the only required fields. These other fields aren't required. It's up to you if you want to fill those in. Reason for contact, obviously in the subject, you'll put the execution or, staying the execution of Walter Barton, whatever in the subject there. And then in the comments message, you will basically say something along the lines of, I believe you should take a closer look at this case. I do not, I certainly don't believe that, this case, I think this case has enough problems that death penalty is problematic. However you guys might want to word it, but let the governor know that you're thinking he needs to stay this execution and take a closer look at the case because there's some issues. And so what you do then, so you write that into the comments message and then you hit submit. And that sends an email over to Governor Parsons in Missouri. So that's it. I mean, you go to that link, you fill that out, you fill in the subject and the comments, boom. It takes maybe a minute. And folks, for 1 minute of your time, you are doing a huge help for Walter Barton, who is stuck behind bars, stuck in a concrete building behind bars and everything else with nothing he can do about it. 1 minute of your time means the world to Walter. Let me tell you. So any of you who can, please do go and send an email to Governor Parsons and let him know what you think and tell him you believe he should exercise a little caution here and not be so gung-ho in executing Mr. Barton. And like I said, I encourage everybody to go check out this live that's supposed to be happening at 3 p.m. Now, when they say 3 p.m., I got to imagine that's 3 p.m. Central. So everybody, I think you're going to have to figure out what your time is going to be from there. If it is 3 p.m. Central, then it would be 4 hours from now. Let me see. No, sorry, it would be 2 hours from now. Okay, and what I saw Jane just put up over here, folks, right here. So that's the phone number you can call. You can actually call the governor's office. I don't know that you'll get the governor himself, but you'll probably get an assistant who is going to probably be taking a lot of messages right now regarding Walter Barton. So anybody that's interested in calling and emailing and doing everything, you can call this number over here, and that's up on the screen. You can call that number and express your feeling. Don't be irate or anything like that, folks. Be classy and just say, I believe that you should exercise some caution in possibly stay the execution of Walter Barton. There seem to be quite a few questions in the case. These are the types of things that you'll want to say. Now, I have a couple of articles I'm going to show you here before we're done. So if you guys want to call in later, you can maybe call in after you've gone through these articles. And that way you'll have a little bit more understanding of what's going on as you're talking about it with whoever's on the other side of the phone. So, but that's an option too. You can also call in. I imagine that would be pretty powerful. Ricky Kidd called in directly yesterday. I imagine he'll probably be calling in today. And I'm sure he's probably still, because I'm sure he's still talking about this today. I know he was going live over on Facebook yesterday, and that was when I heard about this yesterday. And so now, that's, I want to help Ricky out. And obviously, Ricky's obviously working very hard to help out Walter Barton here. And so we all hopefully can do just a little bit. And just sending an email, trust me, the 1 minute, 2 minutes you spend sending that email is a freaking godsend for Mr. Walter Barton. Okay? He is going to appreciate it over the moon. You know what I mean? So literally, come on, folks, 1 to 2 minutes of your time, send over that email. And let's get the attention of the Missouri governor, and let's get his attention and get him to stay this execution, because it seems pretty clear the conviction is not very rock solid. It certainly has some issues. Hello, Jinxie. Yes, Governor Parsons is also on Twitter, so you can tweet to him as well if you want. So there we go. Jane's on top of it. I see. For Jerome, or possibly for the international crowd, you might need to dial it this way. I don't know what prefix you might need to use. I assume 001 is Jerome's prefix in Belgium. So, but if you're in the UK or, Germany or maybe somewhere else, it might be a different prefix code here. But anyways, that's the number if you guys want to call and just, hey, give him a little heads up, and just, like I said, be classy, okay? You can be passionate, but be classy, and just express the fact that you think they're about to make a big mistake. And seeing as, they don't have the ability to give life back, in this case, it seems problematic to be taking a life. Something along those lines, folks, and just give them something to think about. Just an extra, one more thing to think about, right? Okay, so let's move into these articles. So this is from the Kansas City Star. Some of you guys remember the Kansas City Star. I actually covered an article in it recently over the Highland Community College. The issue that's going on there with the potential civil rights issues that are going on over at that college. So anyway, so the Kansas City Star here. This is an article by Mark Woodworth. He was actually wrongfully convicted, spent 17 years. Okay, so in 2014, I was exonerated after spending 17 years in prison for a murder I did not commit. Like Walter Barton, who is scheduled to be executed on Tuesday, I was prosecuted by a unit of lawyers within the Missouri Attorney General's office who travel around the state prosecuting capital cases alongside, or in some cases, instead of the local county prosecutor's office. I am not the only person to have been wrongfully convicted because of the unit's corrupt and unethical practices. It prosecuted Brad Jennings, Josh Keyser, and Dale Helmig for murder, and all were later exonerated. Others, such as Ricky Clay and Michael Taylor, had their death sentences reversed or commuted because of the unit's wrongdoings. Having been a victim of this prosecution team's misconduct, I urge Governor Mike Parson to appoint a board of inquiry to take a look at Barton's case. Sounds like a sensible move to me. The Attorney General's unit prosecuted me at 2 trials and attempted a third before I was finally cleared of all charges. My first conviction was reversed because the court failed to admit, at the prosecutor's urging, a prior inconsistent statement made by one of the prosecutor's witnesses. My second conviction was reversed because the prosecution withheld evidence. Brady. And had it been turned over, the court noted, no jury would have convicted me. Interesting, huh, folks? What was the part here? I just think that's interesting. 3 trials there. 3 trials there. Because you're going to find out that Mr. Barton had 5 trials. That's how bad this prosecutorial unit is. That evidence revealed not only my innocence, but also the unlawful actions the unit was willing to take to secure a conviction. Included in that evidence were never before disclosed letters between the unit prosecutor, the trial judge, and a surviving victim, urging the Attorney General's office to prosecute me after the local prosecutor had decided not to pursue charges against me. The local prosecutor knew there was no case to be made. Yeah. So there's some concern about this special prosecutorial unit, I'll say, in Missouri. Yeah, wow. Even the investigation itself was marred by misconduct. Unit prosecutors failed to turn over police reports implicating someone else as the perpetrator, including evidence that another suspect had violated an order of protection against the victim's family shortly before the murder, as well as other witnesses who corroborated his guilt. Oh my Lord. Yeah, this is just, it's wild. But I mean, if this is the prosecutorial unit that convicted Walter Barton, and it took 5 trials to do it there because the first 4 trials kept getting reversed because of the prosecutorial, this little unit they have there in Missouri, because of the things they were doing, the verdict kept getting reversed. I had to go 5 times, and eventually on the 5th time they got it to stick, and they managed to make it stick, which is just bizarre. But anyway, an ethical prosecutor would have viewed the suppressed evidence and the flawed and biased investigation as a deprivation of due process, leading to an unreliable and unjust conviction, but not the Attorney General's unit. Even after a special master appointed by the Missouri Supreme Court issued a searing report, finding that there was nothing fundamentally fair about the investigation and prosecution of my case, they attempted to prosecute me a 3rd time. At the 3rd trial, the judge threw out dubious evidence against me, finding an egregious, flagrant, cavalier disregard of evidentiary procedures and process. Wow. Ultimately, the unit's unethical tactics caused the court to take the extraordinary step of removing the Attorney General's office from my case altogether. Whoa. That's pretty wild. On July 15th of 2014, after a special prosecutor unaffiliated with the unit was appointed to review my case, all charges were dismissed. Wow. I understand that it took this same Attorney General's unit 5 attempts to convict Barton and sentence him to death. After the 4th attempt, the unit prosecutor was forced to recuse himself because of his own misconduct, which involved withholding material evidence and eliciting perjury from an informant on the stand. But just as in my case, the unit would not do the right thing. They simply appointed another attorney to go after Barton again. Using the same perjured snitch witness, they secured his conviction. Yeah. Wow. If the Attorney General's unit had its way, I would die in prison for a crime I did not commit. The wrongful prosecution in my case reveal what is at stake when prosecutors forego their duty to do justice and instead focus on winning at all costs. The multiple attempts by the unit to obtain a conviction and death sentence for Barton is no different. Governor Parson has the power to investigate the conduct of the Attorney General's office in Barton's case. Although I will never get back the 24 years the unit's wrongful prosecution stole from me, I lived to see justice done. Walter Barton deserves the same. Mark Woodworth was exonerated in 2014 of a 1990 murder near Chillicothe, Missouri. He served 17 years for a crime he did not commit. So that's the story there of Mark Woodworth, right? All right, let's see what's going on in the chat. All right, so Jane's giving you guys all the links. She's got it all ready right at she's gunslinging it like all, But anyway, so she's giving you guys everything you need to get in touch. And I've always been pro death penalty until I learned and got educated into wrongful convictions. Yeah, I mean, I personally, after seeing how often our system is getting it wrong with the data coming out of the Innocence Projects and stuff like that, as often as it's being proven that we get it wrong, I don't think we have any business taking life that we can't give back, because the data coming out of the Innocence Projects tells us that we don't get it right nearly enough to be in a position to declare to be taking something we can't give back. Basically, I can be very classy when someone's life is literally on the line. Oh, I'm just reminding everybody to be classy and get your message across in a classy way. It's better. It's better. It works better. So let me give you guys the link to this article. I don't know if Jane has, but let me go ahead and give it to you guys real quick here so that you guys can go check it out. Put all these links. I was so busy before I got going here, and I even got a call from work, and I had to make a tech support call real quick and got busy, and I didn't manage to get the links down in the description, but I will do so after I'm done here talking to you guys. I'll get the links to these articles down there. But for now, here's the link to the article we were just going through. So that is the link to the one we were just reading. If you guys want to take that and save that link somewhere for when we're done, for you to go take a look at it yourself. So now we're going to move on to one more article I have here. This article's the Midwest Innocence Project asking to stay the execution for a Missouri inmate. And obviously that is Walter Barton, who we see here, right? Okay. Here we go. Where's my, hold on. Okay, there we go. Better. Okay. Fairway, Kansas. The 81-year-old victim was raped and murdered nearly 30 years ago. But Monday night, the Midwest Innocence Project and about 5,000 people who signed a petition are asking the governor for a little extra time. You know what? Let me make this a little bigger for you guys. All right, that's better. Walter Barton is scheduled to die Tuesday night. What he's accused of is nightmarish to even think about. It happened in 1991 in Ozark, Missouri. 81-year-old Gladys Kuehler was raped and murdered. The killer cut her throat and stabbed her dozens of times. Barton was one of the 3 people that found Kuehler, and he says that's how the spatters of her blood got onto his shirt. Prosecutors say her blood got there when he killed her. The real question is, what went right before Mr. Barton? And the real question is, what went right before Mr. Barton? And the answer is still nothing. Midwest Innocence Project Executive Director Tricia Rojo Bushnell said. Bushnell says Barton's case 100% deserves another look. Barton was convicted after going on trial 5 times. 5 times. There were several issues at each trial, including prosecutorial misconduct once and a hung jury. The jurors that eventually convicted him were recently presented new evidence on the blood spatter, and several of them now say that if they had seen that evidence, they would have not agreed to the death penalty. So that's the jurors in this case, several of them, saying if they had seen this evidence about the blood spatter, they would not have voted for the death penalty. Certainly, there is no reliable evidence for a conviction, let alone the execution of someone, Bushnell said. Aside from the blood spatter, there was never any physical evidence linking Barton to the victim. Hair and fingernail scrapings were collected. None of them matched Barton. There we go again. Going after somebody that doesn't match the fingernail scrapings. Are you gosh darn kidding me? What? How long are our law enforcement going to go on making this stupid elementary mistake? All right. Anyways, okay. I've seen it enough times now where it's been ignored and it ended up being used later to lead to the actual killer. And I'm just so sick of seeing that. It's just like, oh my God. Anyways, all right, moving on. Many claim if Barton was the killer, he would have had a lot more time, or he would have had a lot more than a few specks of blood on his shirt. That stands to reason to me. If you're slitting somebody's throat and stabbing them, how many times did it say? 12 times or something? Yeah, that's going to throw a lot of blood around. You'd have a lot more than just a tiny bit on you. I mean, makes perfect sense. The Midwest Innocence Project is asking Governor Parson not to say whether Barton is innocent or guilty, but for the experts of his choosing to give the case another look to be sure Barton was treated fairly. We're asking him to stay the execution and appoint a board of inquiry. This board, which would consist of whatever independent judges he wants, he would review the evidence and make a recommendation to Governor Parson about whether or not to use his clemency power to either commute the sentence or overturn the conviction, Bushnell said. From what Governor Parson said Monday, it appears that board of inquiry won't happen. KCTV5 News has reached out to the Christian County Prosecutor's Office for comment. At this point, we haven't heard back. Barton is scheduled to die by lethal injection tonight at 6 o'clock Central Time, folks. So you see that Walter really needs help. Walter really needs our help. So we need to spend the rest of the day until 6 p.m. Central making our voices heard to Governor Parsons. We need to impress upon Governor Parsons how it's better to err on the side of caution here, because if in fact this very, very corrupt prosecutorial unit got it wrong here, you're about to kill an innocent man, dude. You may be about to kill an innocent man. You should at least look into it to make sure for yourself. That's what you should do, Governor Parsons. You should make sure for yourself. Stay the execution, appoint the board of inquiry. You already know that this prosecutorial team is nothing but trouble. It's shocking the amount of times that they are bungling cases by holding back evidence, Brady, this and that, whatever, prosecutorial misconduct, and they're just handing it off to other lawyers. And it's just like, come on. Take a look into this team's conduct. Take a look into Walter Barton's conviction. And you tell me if you feel so bold at that point to take a man's life that you can't give back. So think on that, Governor Parsons. All right, let's see what's going on over here in the comments. I would say it looks to me, and I haven't been able to review the case in depth yet, but judging by what I'm seeing, that he was one of 3 people that were there to discover the body, that he only had a minimal amount of spatter, which could have been from him, discovering, the victim of the crime, and maybe he got a little bit of blood from the scene, because it would have most likely been a bloody scene. A very bloody scene. And the point that they make in that article were about if he had actually been the actual murderer, he would have had a hell of a lot more blood all over him. He wouldn't have just had some tiny little specks. Like I say, we're talking about throat slitting and multiple stabbings here. Okay, that's messy. Really messy. Heart is beating so fast. Walter Barton's blood will be on his hands along with the state. Yeah, I mean, especially with all the questions around this prosecutorial unit, I mean, I think it's prudent to stay this execution and do an investigation. I think that's what Governor Parsons should do. If he doesn't do it, number one, he's going to have his conscience to deal with when the people that have been supporting Walter Barton are going to continue to send proof that he shouldn't have been executed to Governor Parsons. And so he's not going to be able to escape this. I think the best move for him is to stay it and investigate it. We'll see what he's going to do. And like I said, as they pointed out, he's going to be doing a live talk today. So maybe since yesterday, with all the emails and everything that came in yesterday, maybe that's why they're having the live broadcast today. And maybe he has decided to exercise caution. I do hope so. I truly do. Because just like I said about our good friend Ziggy, folks, right here, we can go back to full screen here. It was just like I was saying about our good friend Ziggy. I wore this tie today because it reminds me of what we can't get back. Once it's taken, it's gone. Once a person's life is taken, you can't give it back. And we all miss Ziggy. And that's why this is something that hits home for us, because we know how permanent death is. And as unsure as this case is, you should have some issues with the death penalty being, executed in this. I think you have some serious issues with this Attorney General's prosecutorial unit. Y'all need to be looking into that. So I do hope Governor Parsons does the right thing, and I hope he exercises caution. It's not like we're asking him to throw the jail doors open. We're not asking for that. We're asking for you to exercise caution and make sure you're getting it right. If you truly think this conviction warrants the death penalty, I would like you to take a closer look, Governor Parsons. See here. And then, here, let me give you guys the link to this article so you guys can check this one out. There's some videos attached to it and stuff like that, so you guys can go check out. What are you doing? All right. Okay. So here's the link to that second article, and I'll put both of these links below, along with the link to the email for Governor Parsons. I'll put those all in the description for you guys to find more easily than to have to go scrolling through this live chat, right? All right, so there's the link to the second article. So I hope everybody will today, please, please, at least send over an email asking the governor to exercise caution, to take a look, to be sure before he goes taking a life that he can't give back. Okay? That's what we want to do today. I want to thank Jane again, folks. Anybody that's looking for any of the links, you can go to Jane. You can come to me. I have the links too, but Jane's really on top of it. She's got them right there. I'm sure she's posting these on Twitter as well. So people go find these links. I'm going to put the link for the email and these two articles in the description below here. Just when I'm done here, I'm about to finish up right now to keep this at around 35 minutes. And I will put those links down below. Please, 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 at least, please send over an email. At least, please do that. you know, you guys know I like Ricky Kidd a lot. Had him on here. I love his passion, love his energy, love everything, you know, that he's doing. And this is a case that he's really pushing right now, and with good reason, with very good reason. So everybody, let's help out Walter Barton, and let's get this thing done. Let's get some awareness raised here, and let's get the governor to take a deeper a closer look, a deeper look, however you want to look at it, into Walter Barton's case, because, you know, like I said, that's the trouble with the death penalty. You know, you can't get, once you take a life, you can't give it back. And as I said, that always brings me back to the stats coming out of the Innocence Projects that are telling us we are clearly getting it wrong. In murder convictions, we're getting it wrong quite a bit, almost a quarter of the time in some cases. I mean, it's enough. We're getting it wrong enough that we really don't have any business taking life because we can't give it back. We can't even give back the time that our criminal justice system takes away from people. We certainly have no business taking away their lives. Not as bad as our track record is currently with all the data coming out of the Innocence Projects. So, all right, folks, everybody go over. Do your best to give Walter Barton, you do your best to give him some help. Help him right now, folks. He's got to be sitting there, just imagine what he must be sitting there feeling like, folks, knowing that in about 6.5 hours, no, sorry, for me, but in about 4.5 hours, folks, in about 4.5 hours, he could be facing the big goodbye. You know what I mean? So I guarantee he will very much appreciate anybody that will at least, you know, try to get the governor's attention, to get the governor to do the sensible thing. So please help us out. Let's do that. I'm going to put the video, all the links into the description. It should be there in less than 5 minutes. You know the song and dance. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe, and we'll see you.